Hi, this is Olivia Ellswick, and today I'm going to be recording my first ever video blog. And today I'll be covering Internet Invention by Gregory Ulmer and the fourth chapter, which covers the cosmogram. So this chapter focuses on a lot of historical and mythical allusions, which I find really interesting. He starts off by talking about the Exandu, which he calls a hybrid place made of elements drawn from 4 locations. And these 4 locations are different important maps and sites in one's life that kind of influence everything that person does, which will be important to my story that we create. And this connects in with the concept of electricity, because the detour through the places that one has in mind and through their names and pictures is a miniature of the logic of electricity. And he goes on to talk about the Greeks and their concept of the topos, kora, and kinon, which the Greek sense of place took into account all 3 notions, but with the development of literacy they became separated. And with choreography, an identification is added with a specific location to the myhistorical identification, and it also adds a protagonist to each of the pop cycle parts. Plato and Aristotle were actually involved with this, and they were most known for topos, which they used as a metaphor for the way word concepts organize information into categories. And he also talks about Jackson Pollock, which I found really interesting because I've learned a lot about him through my philosophy of art class that I took last year. And he talks about childhood indocept kind of influences everything that we do. Like someone's thing was a duck, which they were influenced with as a child, and like growing up they began to associate more things with the duck, or the duck with more things. And recognition of a childhood memory, such as the duck, may become functional career decisions or problem formulation and solution, which I found really interesting because though I'm not sure what my memory would be, I think it's really interesting that something so simple from your past can play such a pivotal role in a lot of things that we do as adults. And he goes on to say the wide image is formed at the focal point of these crossroads, which again are the 4 points in your life that are kind of intersected. They don't actually have to be physically in your life, but through something that influenced you, which makes up the cosmogram. And there's the 4 discourses of the pop cycle, which are tuned into a composite scene by finding a thread of something that runs through all of the points on the map, which add different dimensions of experience. And he talks about Christianity and how their allegory is top-down and ordered from the highest level of generalization, in contrast to the my story, which is bottom-up, which is ordered from the lowest common denominator, which is morality. And these locations that are involved in the cosmogram are partly physical and partly spiritual. So it's kind of like how, if you're in class, for instance, you can be physically present but mentally absent. So I think with this, it's talking about how, even if you haven't been to the place before, how some place can have such a big impact on your ideas and how you are. And what else did we learn on this? Like one example he gave was that how the juxtaposition of the medieval labyrinth with the hopscotch of children's game and the crossroads of driving could be your things and how they're all intersected. And the pop cycle creates a wide site as a memory palace whose foundation was a selected map of one's home places, occupied at significant locations by striking images drawn from entertainment or history. So I think for my cosmogram I might have New York City, because New York City is where I was inspired to do my job. I've never lived there, but I've been there a handful of times, and I think it really influenced me. And he emphasizes how important the home is in this cosmogram, which I think is definitely true because there's so many cliches today about home. Like family isn't blood, it's like who you're with. Home is where the heart is. So clearly we can see that home is at the central being of everything we are. And so I'm going to end on that note since I think I've gone over my time. But that's all for now. Bye.